Okay, this video is from the book Best Christian Art, and we're going to now be talking about some paintings from the late 1700s and then the early 1800s or mid 1800s. This painting here is Alexander Hamilton. He's one of the great founding fathers. The guy was a genius. This is painted by John Trumbull, one of the great artists. Oh, by the way, we're starting on page 374, figure 13.7 for anybody following along in the book. And he was a great man. He got himself into some mischief, which was a big screw up. He had an affair. He cheated on his wife. That was stupid. Led to problems for him. He also, didn't get along with Aaron Burr, and that led to the duel between those two. And he died, which was real sad. And he was a bit of an over-centralizer with the Federalist movement and all that, but he was still good. I read, biography about him and other books that talk about him extensively. And he was good. I still liked him and was real sad about what happened to him. But anyways, you will see that is the way it is with the Founding Fathers. There's a lot of really great men. We're very lucky to have so many great men involved in our Founding Father days. Here is GW at the Constitutional Convention here. And here he is in 1787 presiding over the meeting. This is a painting by Howard Christy in 1940s, public. There's Ben Franklin, of course. There's Alexander Hamilton. There's a lot of other famous Americans we know. Jefferson wasn't there because he was in France at the time. But basically, the Constitution gives us freedom. It says that we're entitled to free speech and other important amendments. And this is one of the things that makes America different than other countries. Other countries, you don't have free speech. You can't just say what you think is true. And America's losing it, So you're basically not allowed to criticize anything that's being used against you. Anything that's being used against your community, your public, you're not allowed to criticize it, okay? It's ridiculous. That's a sign that people are being pushed down when they're not allowed to talk about things. The other thing people don't like to talk about, but it's just a fact, this is a bunch of white Christian men, okay? They brought freedom. They made a free country. USA was the best country ever founded in the history of the world, okay? Now, yeah, of course there were some problems. They should have, canceled slavery right at the beginning, but the reason they didn't do it was they needed the unity of all the states at that time in order to be able to stand up to the British, okay? And some of the Founding Fathers really tried to get slavery abolished right at the beginning, but they were overruled because they couldn't otherwise get the support of the Southern colony. So that's what happened, all right? And GW, you study him closely. He was a great man. He wasn't, a brilliant scholar like Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin and stuff, but he was so brave and so good. He went through so many tough times, especially early on. It looked like we were going to lose to the British. Okay, now here is a statue, painting of the Statue of Liberty when it was unveiled by Edward Moran in 1886. This was painted, and it's beautiful, and basically it's like a gift from France to us, and we gave them the Eiffel Tower, so to speak, and it's magnificent. And it's something you have to preserve. We should be teaching this, and to all the school students should be knowing, the Pledge of Allegiance and everything about the Statue of Liberty. When I was in grade school, we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance all the time, and we used to sing all these songs about USA. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. God bless America. We used to sing all those things. I mean, America used to be way more patriotic than it is nowadays. And this patriotic Christian background, it unified the whole country. And that's partly why they want to get rid of it. And it made things beautiful, too. Like I said, Christmas holidays are the ultimate holiday of the whole entire year. You can't wait to come home and see the family and friends, and you see all the Christmas lights. They cheer you up. A lot of times I'll work a long day as a clinical doctor, and then I'll be kind of tired. I'm coming home, and I see beautiful Christmas lights. Some of the people have decorated their houses, and it's beautiful. It puts me in a good mood. Christians light up the world, the joy of the world. Okay, if it's not for that, then winter is just, Christmas, instead of being December 25th, instead of being Christmas, it just becomes winter break. Well, that really doesn't mean anything. It's just a cold day, and nobody puts up lights. It's kind of bleak. Because what I've seen is without this idea of a unifying religion, what ends up happening is people tend to just stick to their own family and don't pay attention to anything else. They're much less charitable and unified as a community. And I think that's unfortunate for everybody. Okay, here's another painting. This one is of Napoleon and his men on horseback by Ernest Meissonier, 1864. He was a great French artist, and France had a lot of great artists. everybody sort of thinks of France as Impressionism. I mean, yeah, there's some really good stuff in Impressionism, but they had a lot of great artists before that. Okay, so anyways, this painting always reminds me of Napoleon in retreat, you know, coming back from Russia. He bit off more than he could chew. He went out there with over 500,000 men, came back with about 15,000. And so, yeah, he was obviously a military genius, Napoleon, but, you know, he didn't know when to stop. And, of course, I like the painting of him, where he's going over the Alps. That's a great, famous painting. Okay, here is now, we're getting into paintings from the 1800s. This one by Winslow Homer, 1866. And it's from the USA Civil War. And this one is Prisoners at the Front. So you can see here's the northerner in uniform, the officer. And he's interrogating these prisoners here from the South. And, you know, the whole thing was kind of unfortunate. They should have been able to free the slaves without having to have a civil war. It was kind of a sad thing. So, nice painting, though. The best artist, too, if you want to look at Civil War art, take a look at Dan Troiani. He's magnificent. And also Mort Kunstler. Those are the two best Civil War artists. Okay, this right here is a painting by John Everette Millais. He's one of the lead guys in the original Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood of Painters in England in the mid-1800s. And they're the ones that were popularized by John Ruskin. And as a matter of fact, as the story goes, this lady, her name was Effie. Effie was the wife of John Ruskin. He was the eccentric genius, art critic, who helped get the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood to be famous, okay, by promoting them in England. This is sort of the Victorian age, and it was also a time of a Catholic revival. So anyways, this painting is a Scottish soldier being set free, the order for release of the prisoner, and she's his wife in the painting. But in real life, she was the wife of Ruskin, and I don't think they ever consummated their marriage. They just didn't get along that well, and Ruskin said he wasn't that attracted to her. You know, she's pretty. And then Ruskin had asked Everette Millais to paint her, his wife, a painting of her, and they fell in love with each other, and then she married John Everette Millais, and they had a bunch of kids. So anyways, a beautiful painting, incredible natural realism. You know, the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhoods were sort of famous for that. And it's a sign to me of a great painting. Not only is it like accurate in what it conveys, but it emotionally grabs your emotions in a big way. Okay, here's a painting from Russia. I can't quite get them both on the same image screen here. Easter Procession in Russia, and this last name's hard to say, from 1893. And basically, religion, legati, to ligate, to tie together like a medical suture is called a ligature. And anyways, it unites a people. If you tell me that somebody from the other side of the planet sings Christian songs, reads the Bible, I'll automatically have tons of stuff in common with them. That's a good thing. And Fyodor Dostoevsky, like writing Brothers Karamazov and writing The Idiot in the late 1800s, he recognized all of this stuff happening, and he said, we're either going to, be more Christian, or we're going to fall into terrible times. And basically, slavery is what tends to replace Christianity. And yeah, I know Christianity is not perfect, but it gives the people this Bible-based worldview. They're created in the image of God, and they all are equal before God. And it enables people to get along, and it reminds them they should be nice to everybody, the most weak and fragile person. Versus you go with atheistic Darwinism, what it basically says, weak people deserve whatever they get. Might is right, okay? And you go down that path, a lot of bad things happen to the poor and the weak, okay? You don't want that. In the 1900s, Stalin bumped off 65 million Christians, okay? That's a lot. This right here is Easter Procession in Kursk, another painting in Russia, this one by Ilya Repin, and you just see, gives the people something to do, gives them a lot in common. These holidays are good. I'd much rather see people singing in church and competing in a singing contest or a musician contest than not getting along with each other. That's a great thing. Singing contest, that's what kind of stuff we should be doing. Okay, here's a painting called Winter Scene in New Haven, Connecticut. And this brings home to mind the idea of the small family farms. America used to have a lot of these. When I was a young guy, even college age, a lot of friends had family farms. And that gave them a lot of self-sufficiency and independence. And when the you-know-what hits the fan, they do very well because they could feed themselves versus, city slickers, they're kind of, not in such a great spot. So Thomas Jefferson had said we should have as many family farms as possible, and he was right. For long-term stability and freedom, that's a good thing. It decentralizes the country. In general, anything that centralizes the country takes power away from the individuals. Anything that makes individuals independent like this, able to function autonomously, that makes life better for them and makes them more free. Okay, this painting here is Going to Church by George Henry Durrie, 1853. And again, it brings home the idea of community. Like I said, when I was growing up, I didn't have to have my parents arrange a play date. I would just walk down the street, knock on the door. Is Jimmy home? Knock, knock, knock. Is Billy home? Knock, knock, knock. Is Brian home? And we would play. We would then, play softball, kickball in the street, kick the can or something. There were tons of kids around. We used to walk to school. My parents didn't even check on me. I'd say, okay, bye, I'm going to school. See you later. I would just walk down the busy street. No one cared about it. But nowadays, it's not that safe like it used to be. You can't just have kids walking all over the place. They're going to end up, So anyways, this is what it was like. I miss those good old days. Okay, and again, there's lots of these paintings. And they're very nice. This is the way it was, a community. I went to a Catholic grade school for 8th grade, and it was quite nice. The children were 1,000 times, 10,000 times better behaved than they were at a public school, and you had a sense of community. I knew every single kid in the class. I played on the football team, for example, so I knew all the football players, and you just had a lot in common with everybody else. It was nice, and the adults were in charge, not the kids. There was no misbehaving in the school. I mean, you misbehave, you would be reprimanded very quickly, and it wouldn't be tolerated. There was 0 fights, not a single fight. There was nobody on drugs. Okay, you go to a public school, public junior high. There's chaos. Kids are pregnant. Kids have sexually transmitted diseases. There's fighting, there's drugs, all kinds of BS, okay? None of that in the Catholic school. Now, don't get me wrong. What they taught in terms of the classroom was pretty much just about as stupid as what they teach in a public school, kind of meaningless lists of vocabulary words. I don't remember having the education being too good, but I do remember their heart was in the right place. The teachers were nice. I sort of remember my Catholic school teachers much better than I remember my public school teachers. They kind of talked to you more individualistic. There was Bible study was incorporated in the whole thing. So anyways, we'll end today on this painting, and I'm usually doing about 8 to 10 pages a day to gradually get through the book and just show the paintings. So hope that was interesting for you.